Mbappe proved that he's the best player on the planet. And
Hmm.
it's just like
Yeah.
the narrative now going forward is like he's on this villain arc.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Washed Athlete Podcast and another episode of This Week in Sports. If you're new around here, we are the Washed Athlete Podcast. If you are not new around here, you may notice that we are recording virtually instead of in person. Right now, we are all on college break, so we have decided to film this episode virtually. You might get one or two more of these until we make it back on campus. If you're your first time around here, we're normally in-person recording. You might not be able to tell if you're on the audio, but we're not going to get too much into that. What we're here to talk about is sports, and the first thing on our list is the World Cup. We recently had the conclusion of Argentina and France. Crazy game. I mean, like, everyone likes to react in the moment, but like it might be the best soccer game that's ever happened.
Yeah, like I don't know if you could write, like, you couldn't write a better game than that. How it was like, oh, Argentina put it away. It was like Messi has this penalty. It's like, all right, it was kind of a soft penalty, but it's like, okay, you know what? He still got it. He was able to put it in. And Di Maria with an amazing goal. Like a textbook counterattack. Like, literally, I don't watch soccer. That was the coolest thing I've seen.
And you were like, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Watching the ball just get like, it's like pass, and everybody's just in different spots, and then he like rips the shot from the outside. It was an amazing goal. And they're like, oh, okay, so Argentina's put it away going into halftime.
It's over. Lionel Messi's gonna win his trophy.
And then Mbappe just decides, no, I'm going to turn into a superhuman and score a hat trick out of nowhere. That was one of the wildest things I have ever seen. And then went into PKs. That was like, it was so unbelievably stressful during PKs, just like watching. Because, like, you know, obviously everybody like knows, like, okay, it gets down to PKs, but like the idea of like 4 billion people watching you kick a ball, and if you don't make it, your entire country will disown you, is insane.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad about it when we were watching together, and I was like, there's no more stressful moment than that right there. World Cup final PKs, because like you could think like, okay, you got to make a game-winning free throw in basketball, in like the Game 7 of the finals, but basketball is a mostly American sport, United States sport, where like this is the World Cup. This is every single country. Even the we're hearing all these crazy reactions from American fans. Can you imagine the reactions from like South American countries that Argentina, like, soccer is like their thing?
There was so after they won the World Cup, there was 4 million people estimated in the streets. That is the size of like the Netherlands, like the entire population of the Netherlands. So it's an entire country's worth of people were just celebrating.
Buenos Aires was absolutely crazy during that parade.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got to give Messi his flowers. Takes home the World Cup and probably what is going to be his last World Cup.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think everyone won in this situation. France is obviously a great team. They have a great young player in Mbappe and a lot of other great talent, and they've obviously established that they are a team to stay for a really long time. They won it 4 years ago. They made it back to the finals, went like so close to winning it again this year.
Yeah.
But I think for the soccer world to have France, you like to. I think most people like to see dynasties. It's fun to watch. It's fun to like see how a team can be so dominant, especially like Golden State Warriors dynasty, now France, and starting maybe a dynasty here.
Yeah.
In the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls. It's fun to see greatness happen. So I think we got to see some greatness with France, but we got to see the overall greatness of a player in Messi, who we might never get to see again.
Yeah.
So I mean, you couldn't draw it up better.
No.
Than like what happened.
Because it was like Messi got his medal, but Mbappe proved that he's the best player on the planet. And it's just like the narrative now going forward is like he's on this villain arc. And if you've seen the pictures of him like returning to France, like when they had like their like ceremony there, he looked like he was gonna light the world on fire. Like he looked so evil and is like ready to score like 10 goals in the next World Cup.
Yeah, I will pay a lot of money if I can get my dream is to have France in the group stage with the United States, so I can go watch the United States. I mean, I don't know how I'll have the money for that.
But
we get smoked, and I don't think I have the money to afford that type of game. But like, I would love to have it.
You'll watch that team.
Yeah, and like, I'm just like, this World Cup was everything I need to be excited for the World Cup in 2026. And I don't know if like I'll remember all like the feelings at this time. in 2026 when it gets when it's here. But man, right now I'm amped to try to get to games, and
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
It's awesome.
But shifting off the World Cup a little bit, Croatia did win the third place game. No one really cares about the third place game. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL because it's getting spicy now. Playoff spots are if anything wasn't set before, now it's they're on the line, and we're going to go through a few key matchups this week where it has a ton of pull into what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So most notably, we are recording this Thursday. It's going to be uploaded on Friday. Right now, as we're recording, the Jags and Jets game is going on, which is massive, absolutely massive for both teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the Jags who are trying to come back from their slow start, and they've been looking really good. They beat the Cowboys last week, and now we have the Jets who have kind of come down to earth a little bit, but are still 7-7, and they have a 13% chance to make the playoff according to some stats. But this is the game they need to win out.
Yeah, they do. That's the only way they're going to be able to win. And then I think the Jets do need some magic to happen where it's certain teams need to lose. I think it's either the Chargers, the Bills, or Miami, I think. But the Jags, they control their own destiny. They just need to win out, and they need to hope that
they can straight up win the division.
Yeah, that they need to hope that they're able to do that. But right now, the Jets look bad. Well, specifically, the offense looks terrible with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Yeah. Their defense looks very, very solid, but my God, I was literally just watching the first half. They had 66 yards of total offense in the first half. Evan Ingram has more yards than that on the Jags side, so that's, I think, saying enough.
That's funny. I watched an Instagram reel today about someone saying why you should bet the under for Evan Ingram.
Oh,
and he's got 66 yards in the first half, over 66 in the first half.
Exactly,
that's funny.
Yeah, so that person is down tremendous.
Yeah, the Jets need to figure it out. I mean, there was a funny image that came up talking about the comparison of the AFC quarterbacks and the NFC quarterbacks in terms of where they were drafted. Yeah, all the AFC quarterbacks are first rounders, and the Jets haven't been able to find their guy, so they can't compete. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence here, who right now is making a bid to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. With the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks, and on the other side, you have Mike White as the starter, your second overall pick, who can't play football, and then Joe Flacco sitting in a big coat on the sideline, maybe hoping to come in, and Joe Flacco's so washed.
It's his corpse. That is he doesn't want to be there. I was literally just while I was watching the game, he was standing on the sideline, just rain pouring down. He's just got his hands in the little pocket thing, and he just looked like he was well, I'm here to pay my kids' college tuition. I don't care about any of this. And
literally, so
Mike White, though, who is injured, was very focused on the game. He was ready to go because he was
wearing 3 hoodies.
He was wearing 3 hoodies, and actually during the week, Mike White tried to see 9 different doctors to have one of them clear him for the game, even though he had 6 broken ribs.
I read that story and I was man, because I think I sent our group chat the message, and I was it was oh, if 9 doctors cleared Mike White, I don't think the 10th doctor is going to be saying,
yeah, I don't think you should trust the 10th doctor at that point.
Yeah. I saw that and I was geez, Zach, just give it up, champ.
Yeah, exactly. Mike White he's a dog, but right now he cannot play. There's no shot.
No, cannot play. No shot. But then shifting to the next game, and I want to talk about this Browns-Saints game because it looks small on paper. You look 5-9 Saints, 6-8 Browns. I don't think the Browns can make the playoffs, but I wanted to mention it because if you're a Browns fan and 6-8 is not bad from where you started, and you can finish out the season at 9-8, I think you feel really good about your chances going into next year with Deshaun Watson after busting off some rust a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that it's I mean, they were fine with Jacoby Brissett, and I think it is going to take some time for Deshaun Watson to get back into it. But I feel they're also getting a little antsy. Okay, man, we gave you $300 million. Come on.
Mm-hmm. And so I think if I was a Browns fan, being 9-8 to end of the year and being we missed out on the playoffs, but came on strong with Deshaun back, I'd be you know what, we're going to come into next year and really try to contend. Exactly. So I think as a Browns fan, this is just you just want to win these games out. You don't care about the draft pick. I don't even know I don't even think Browns have their draft pick.
It'd be mid. They'd be fine,
yeah. Yeah, but you just want to feel good. 9-8 feels really good. if you're a Browns fan from this year.
It's
and then on the Saints side of things, they look at 5-9, and I want to talk about this for two reasons. The one reason is if they continue to lose, the Eagles draft pick that they have continues to go closer to number one.
Yes.
And then if the Saints win, you're talking about a legitimate world where they'll be 6-9 or whatever it is, and they're in the playoff hunt because the division is so bad. Like, this division is not over despite the Saints being 5-9.
Yeah, because the NFC South is atrocious this year, solely because the Buccaneers are just so unbelievably washed.
Yeah, and like all it takes is for the Saints to win, the Bucks to lose, and then suddenly the Saints are either first place or tied for first place in the division. So I mean, these records for the Panthers and the Saints and the Falcons and Bucks all look bad, but like they're all like actively fighting for the spot, and there's only going to be one getting out because they're not going to get the wild cards.
Yeah.
So that's a very important game. And then an equally important game is, Peter, your Giants versus the Vikings.
Well, so let me just put this out there. They're probably not going to beat the Vikings, but they have a shot, I feel like, because the Vikings are a really weird team where sometimes they will absolutely show up, but then other times they just don't. And like, I don't know which Vikings team is going to come out there. The only issue is that we are still without our starting free safety and our number one corner. So I have a feeling Justin Jefferson might be sort of torching us this
Might
game.
have a day.
Might have a day. So if I were a betting man, which I'm not, but maybe you should bet the Justin Jefferson over personally. But
I bet that line is so high. I could not even imagine what that line would be at.
I don't want to hear it because I know it's going to be something ridiculous. But I mean, the thing is that like the Giants, the front, at least the front four of the Giants now is finally back and healthy. We have Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau. And this last game, Kayvon Thibodeau looked like an absolute monster. Like, he was all over the place. He had like 12 tackles, 3 for a loss, a sack, fumble recovery, touchdown thing that was absurd.
Thing.
Exactly. So he's like coming into his own. It's like we have our front four. Our run defense is still awful because we have no linebackers that are good, which sucks. And then our offense is like, if they can shut down our run game of Saquon Barkley and Vanilla Vic, we're kind of screwed because we're down to. So we have our wide receiver 3 in Darius Slayton. And then we have, I think, wide receivers 7 and 8, I believe. So not surprising.
The line for Justin Jefferson is 89.5. I would bet the over.
God, yeah, I definitely bet the over. He's gonna have over 100 yards. It's not even gonna be a question.
If you can get an alternate line over 150, I would consider hitting that.
The alternate spread.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
If I was a betting man.
I'm not a betting man.
We're not offering gambling advice.
To be taken seriously. This is not betting advice. This is not legal advice. But it sounds like a pretty good idea. But
it sounds like a good idea until it's not a good idea.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not too confident about this game, but I think because if the Giants win like one of their next 3 games, they're essentially into the playoffs. It's like a 99% chance, I think. But it's like if they win like this game, if they win one of their next couple, and then like if the Commanders like lose one of their next couple, I think they're like guaranteed at that point. So I think they have a shot, and I don't think they'll go anywhere in the playoffs, honestly, because they're just injured to hell and they're just not that good. But I think it's more of like a moral victory of like, okay, we really turned this program around. It's very obvious that when we have our players on the field, we are a good team. But more of like, okay, we made it there. Cool. All right, let's look at next year.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Who knows what you'll shake out to be? You'll end up playing, if you're lucky enough and you can kind of push up into that upper realm as like the 5 seed, you could end up playing the 4 seeded like Bucks, or like if you can win out and get that 5 seed, then you can end up playing that AFC South winner, which would be, again, even a playoff win for someone like the Giants right now would be huge. Just because this wasn't supposed to be a contending year.
No, it was absolutely a rebuilding year. So the fact that we were even in possibility to get in the wild card is insane.
And the Vikings, on the other hand, have been a team that's kind of been skidding, and they go down 33-0 in Indianapolis, and they were in. I think they might have been in Viking Stadium, but they come storming back down 33-0 to make that a game. I don't know what kind of game that was. That was Jeff Saturday classic.
That was
Matt Ryan,
masterclass of joking.
Matt Ryan put on a show as the Vikings came back down 33 to take that game. So, I don't know what to make of that, but
Colts
anyway, the Vikings are maybe good, maybe not, and
it's the Colts and the Vikings are the two sides of the same coin. It's the Colts can sometimes look very good, but most of the time they're bad. The Vikings can sometimes look bad, but most of the time they're good.
The problem is that defense is really bad.
Oh, the defense is historically bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we'll see. That game's just huge for if the Vikings continue to skid, they could fall down into a 3-seed position, which isn't the end of the world. But I think you're going to want to have home field against either the Eagles or the Niners if it comes to it. You definitely don't want to,
especially if you're in Minnesota. You want home field advantage.
Yeah. Well, they play in a dome, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, they do play in a dome. Right, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still don't think you want to go on the road to. You definitely don't want to go on the road to Philly. It's an outdoor stadium. And you definitely don't want to go to the road to San Francisco where they have some really good fans over there. So
yeah.
But then the next game is the Bengals versus Patriots. And now, I don't think anyone thinks the Patriots are going to win this game because the Bengals are really good.
No,
but the implications of this game, on the other hand, are really large because the Bengals are one game, I believe, outside of the Bills. And they're also one game. I forget what the Chiefs' record is. All I know is the Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills are really close in standings right now.
Yeah.
And if the Bengals lose this game, they really fall out of that. They have no shot there. If they win this game, then they're continue the hunt. But the Patriots also really need this game because it's the same thing with the Jets situation where they have a very low percentage, and mostly it revolves on them winning out. But the reason I say this is we've seen this with Bill Belichick before. Come on. We've seen it. A game that you have no business winning, and you walk in there, and you make Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase look like your local rec league.
Exactly. He's either going to put on a clinic of how to defensively shut down superstars, or they're going to put up 50. And there's no in between for this game.
No in between. So I would never, if I was a betting man, I would not bet the Patriots to win this game. I'm just saying that if it's close in the fourth quarter, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
And after, let's talk about for a minute the Patriots against the Raiders collapse. What the heck? And I saw a bunch of interviews afterwards, and all the players, Mac Jones, Jacoby Myers, and I forget who caught the ball. But they all the three of them took the blame and put it all on themselves. So they obviously know they messed up, but golly, that was I've
take a knee and go in overtime.
Just the first lateral made sense. It wasn't a dangerous lateral at all.
No, that was just sense backwards towards somebody. Maybe he'll get some more yards, and then we'll see.
Yeah, but then Jacoby Myers chucks the ball to all people of Mac Jones,
and then Chandler Jones is just standing there. Just catches it, turns. Mac Jones sees a freight train in front of him and just gets his head dribbled against the ground. Oh my god!
Honestly, I'm kind of glad that happened to Mac. I don't know. I'm not a big Mac Jones guy. I was kind of good for Chandler Jones.
Oh my god!
I don't know why, but Mac and Cheese got put in the ground. But I did see some people critiquing his tackling and be like, he needed to tackle better. I was like, what do you expect from him? He's been in an awful position, and Chandler Jones isn't some scrum player. He's really good.
He's a really good player. Yeah, he's crazy athletic.
He might have made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he is last year. Didn't he lead the league in sacks last year? So he was
something. It was
last year.
Yeah.
And he was on the Patriots for a really long time too. He was a really good player.
He's a good player. So I was people were critiquing the tackling, and I was I wouldn't do that.
Mac Jones is not a headhunter. Let's settle down there.
Yeah. The fact that they didn't throw a Hail Mary from that spot on the field, that was embarrassing. They were like, "Oh, Mac can't throw it that far," and I was like,
"God, it's so bad, so bad."
It's a bad situation over there in New England with quarterbacks. Bad situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad quarterback situations in the league. We'll talk about that another time on This Week in Sports. But moving on to the next big game and there's a lot of big games this week. It's getting close. Every game's important, but just picking up some highlights. Lions, Panthers, and this is important for many reasons. The Panthers, as we talked about with the AFC South, they're not, despite having a terrible record, they are not out of the playoff picture.
Somehow.
They can still make it, and it wouldn't even take that much. So they're still very much in the hunt. And if you're a Panthers fan and you have a shot, if you make the playoffs this year after all that's happened,
insane.
Like your owner's thrilled. Like you get playoff revenue for like being trash.
Yeah, just absolute hot garbage. Yet somehow you're like, we're here.
Sam Darnold comes in. Baker Mayfield comes in. Like during the year, like you're like,
PJ Walker
what's
was
going
in
on
there? Who was like an XFL?
Yeah, PJ Walker was starting. You fire Matt Rule midseason. I think you also fire the OC.
Yeah.
So you just got like all these interim coaches all over the place. You still don't have a quarterback that's viable. You have no receiving core. You traded Christian McCaffrey in the middle of the year. Like your team's a train wreck. The only thing that's good about your team is the defense and J.C. Horn and
like Brian Burns. But like other than that, no one.
So you have a solid defense, not great defense, a solid defense with a dog water offense.
Yeah.
And
somehow
you can still make the playoffs.
Like that's ridiculous. They're gonna have they might have like a top 10 pick and they might be able to make the playoffs. Like
that would be nuts.
That is the dumbest sentence I have ever heard. Like they'd be first round exits and then turn around and be like, yeah, we got the 8th overall pick.
Yeah. I want to give a quick message real quick because I think everyone hated on the NFC East last year, like the NFC least for being such a bad division. The AFC South is way worse than the NFC least last year.
Like they are such a bad division because it's not even because the thing is about the NFC East is like, oh, they're a bad division. It's like, well, the Eagles and Cowboys were decent. It was just Washington and the Giants were terrible. Like, but across the board, the NFC South is bad. They are just not good. There's no good team anywhere in there.
Yeah, no, everyone was just hating on the NFC East last year for being so bad, like all these jokes and memes, and I'm like, the AFC South objectively like just a worse division.
Yeah,
like, it's terrible. There's not really much of a world where any team's over 500.
No, like the Commanders who are in last place in the NFC East would be like a game and a half ahead in that division, I think.
Yeah, it's wild, and they also have to play interdivision games against Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants, which makes it like hard. So, but and then for the Lions, obviously they're doing kind of the same thing Jacksonville's doing, but they did it a little bit earlier, where they're like rocketing at the perfect time.
Yes,
to make the playoffs, and one game can pretty much derail them, like a lot of other teams. Fortunately, the NFC the NFC is a lot easier to make than the AFC at this point in time, but still for the Lions, you can't take any of these games for granted. Especially, I think they might be in the road in Carolina, so they got to win a road game. Yeah. Lions defense still isn't good. So it'll be interesting to see that game because that has a ton of implications. I mean, all of a sudden, like, if the Saints lose, which I think they will, if the Saints lose, the Bucks lose, and the Falcons lose, and the Panthers win, suddenly the Panthers looking good, and they might that final game against Tampa Bay at the end of the year might have everything. Imagine Tom Brady in Carolina playing against maybe Sam Darnold at quarterback.
Who knows?
For the playoff spot. Gets flexed to Saturday primetime.
Flexed to Saturday primetime is just the worst game anyone's ever seen.
Such a bad game. There's been some bad games recently where there's just like no scoring going on, and I'm man,
this is terrible.
I mean, Bucks went up 17-0 on the Bengals spotted the Bucks 17 points
and came back and won.
And it wasn't close.
It wasn't. Like second half, Bengals were mauling them.
It was disgusting. But transitioning off of the NFL, we're going to go through some NBA points here. I wanted to mention John Morant went on television. Like, people asking what teams he's afraid, like what teams that look scary in the league. He says the Celtics. Then the interviewer gives him a chance to like anyone in the West. He goes, "I'm not scared of anyone in the West." And the funniest thing about this is John Morant's been in the league for 3 years. John Morant has no good playoff experience. He's not made the Western Conference Finals. He's not made an NBA Finals. And anything like he's a great young player. I'm a big John Morant fan, but I was like, bro, like you're not afraid of anyone in the West. Like you haven't like I think they won that Minnesota series last year. But besides that Minnesota series, they didn't win another. Like they only won one playoff series before, and they're like, we're not scared of anyone in the West. I was like, how about who beat you in the playoffs last year? Like, are you scared of them?
That's such a good. And like, isn't the West like really deep too? Like, there's like a lot of like top heavy like good teams.
So good. And that was another point on this list. I mean, I pulled the NBA standings real quick because I don't have them like right on me, but I know. Let's just read through it. The Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans, and Suns, Clippers, Kings, and Blazers are all separated by 3 games. And if you go up to the top 4, they're all separated. They're separated by less than a game. The Nuggets and Grizzlies are tied for 1-2. Pelicans 1 game back. Suns game 1 back. And then Clippers are 1.5 back. So when you're talking about a stacked list like that, like you're the Grizzlies, there's a very possible world which you slide down to the 6th seed in the West in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, it takes that little time for you to slide back in the standings, and you're like, no, we're not afraid of anyone in the West. And I was like, we're going to mention, like, how about you just be like, you know what? Zion, that kid's great. A little bit scared of the Pelicans.
Or even, like, you don't even have to say you're scared. You just say, you're like, there's a lot of tough competition in the West, but, like, I think that, like, we have, like, the talent to be able to carry us, like, the way. It's like, you put respect on everybody's name, but you still are confident. Like, you could easily just say that, but he's like, nah, not scared. Not at all.
And is that an overrated... This is like bulletin board material. This is like when you lose the playoff series to the Pelicans.
Everybody just goes
like Zion Williamson goes on his Instagram. This is freezing cold takes. This is freezing cold takes retweeting a tweet. This is Zion Williamson posting a story like no one's like not afraid of anyone in the West. Like this is like this is a bad scene. And then so we talked about kind of the West. I mean the West is full of great teams right now. The Nuggets, Jokic has really come into his own a lot more, which is really good.
Like 27 rebounds in a game recently or something like that.
He just had like 40, 27, and 8 or something. And it's going to be one of the highest scored games of all time. There's a stat called game score.
Yeah, because
that like
it's
just
like
measures all stats.
Contributed to the game. Yeah.
Yeah. And Joel Embiid recently just had a top 7 or 8 performance of all time with that 60 bomb.
Yeah.
60, 11, and 8 against Utah a while back. And then Jokic, I would love to see where this game ends up. Because it was, I read the stat line and I was like,
that's like a Wilt Chamberlain stat line. It's like, this isn't real. Like, what are you even saying?
All right, I'm looking at game score right now, and it doesn't look like
they probably don't
that Joel Embiid game was number 7 of all time. The Devin Booker 70 is right above that. And I don't see Jokic's game on here, which means it probably just didn't get in here yet.
Yeah.
Shout out Joel Embiid for being on this list twice. Why is Fred VanVleet on this list? Anyway, but no, so that was crazy. Like the Nuggets are finally starting to roll a little bit, and they'll get more healthy, so that's exciting to see. The Suns have just been kind of doing their thing, still floating around. They just need more talent. Recently we got mentioned. Robert Sarver sold the team, so that trash ass owner is out of there. Racist, misogynistic, everything. Like, get him out of there. He's gone. And what's really cool is Nat Ishaba, guy who owns a big mortgage firm that kind of competes with Rocket Mortgage and Dan Gilbert. He played basketball at Michigan State. He was a bench player, but he played basketball over there. He's been looking to invest for a while. He bought the Mercury, who was that WNBA team, and then the Suns. So really, I think like a good ownership shift, which is going to focus on like making this the best basketball team ever, and then best basketball team it can possibly be. And then also like everyone says that like he's a really good like company owner, gives a lot of bonuses and stuff. So maybe like no one will hate.
Wow, imagine an owner that won't be evil.
Yeah, literally. That's the standard nowadays. And then the last thing I want to note is my boy, as a Sixers fan, my boy Joel Embiid, slowly and quietly averaging 33 points a game, and I feel like no one is talking about it.
Oh yeah, because isn't the MVP race like so ridiculous at this point, where it's like you can have like such a good season, and it's like you're like 4th on the list.
Yeah, Joel Embiid right now is the 5th seed in the East, which he's gonna need to be higher if he wants to win MVP. Granted, they're only like a game out of 4, and then 2 games out of 2 games out of 3rd. So like there's still a lot of time, but I mean to be averaging 33 points and no one to be talking about it is nuts. So mind you, also like that their record in the East would be like tied for 3rd in the West. So like they're right up there with some of the league's best teams. And no James Harden for most of the year. Tyrese Maxey's still injured. he's averaged out like 33 points and just being dominant force.
Yeah. And do you think when those players come back, he'll be averaging less points or more?
I think it'll probably be very similar. He might fall down to like 30 points a game, but
then just
he's
overall,
going to get
the Sixers will score more.
He's going to get when the Sixers never shy away from just feeding Joel Embiid when he's like playing really well. Like you'll watch plays where Joel Embiid just stays at the 3-point line the entire shot clock and just like walks up to the free throw line and goes and then like drills it and you're just like
standing there holding his hands out just waiting.
Yeah. So that's the NBA update. I mean, we'll get obviously into the NBA season a lot more as the NFL season concludes, and we'll probably be talking a lot just about the NFL coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But until next time, that's going to be this episode of This Week in Sports. If you're new around here and you liked what you saw, please go check out our other episodes. We did a great World Cup episode last time, really revolving around Messi and Argentina in the World Cup final. And we have other podcasts where we kind of just talk about anything that's going on in our lives, what we're doing in college. We have me, Raj, Peter, Jacob, and Andre all on that podcast at times. So it's a good listen if you like it. Make sure you drop a like if you made it this far. Drop us subscribe, and we will see you next time on Watch Out.